Okay, welcome to part two. First part, we talked about if and else statements. Today we're going to talk with what we call chain conditionals or extended if statements. Some people call these if, else ifs, okay? And we can have many of them, if, else if, else if, else if. If you came from Python, we call those elifs, E-L, if. Okay, they're basically the same thing as Python, except we actually use the word else instead of L, E-L. Okay, so here we have if x is greater than 0, else if x is less than 0, else. One of these three will run, but not all three. So depending on which one's the true one, it will run. Okay, the rest are skipped. That makes it a little bit different if I had straight if statements. If I had straight if statements, every one of the ifs will be checked. Even if they were false, it would still have to be checked, which takes time. Okay. Boolean values, we talked are true and false. We learned that at the beginning of the year. And again, we need some type of condition here that evaluates to be true or false inside this if statement. If x equals 5, if that's true, it will do something, else it will be skipped. So we need some type of an expression in here to evaluate to be true or false. We don't always have to use expressions. We could also use variables, or we could actually use true and false itself. So here is true and false. We know those are keywords in C++. And I go, while true, loop forever. Well, this will always loop because true will always be true. It will never become false. So somewhere along the line in a while loop, that has to become false. So right now we are stuck in an infinite loop. Okay, that's why we use variables that could change somewhere along the line, and or a variable, a Boolean expression that will evaluate to true or false. So let's look at Boolean variables. Here I have bool Fred. So Fred can either hold true or false. And notice right next line we go Fred equals true. Here we go bool test result equal false. So not only did we declare test result as bool, we also assigned it a value. We initialized it to false from the very beginning. Again, down below we have bool even flag, and we go ahead and we put a Boolean expression here that evaluates true or false. If n is mod 2 equals 0, then we put true for even flag. If n is a odd number, this will be false. Same way with positive flag. If x is greater than 0, then positive flag will hold true. If it's x is less than or equal to 0, it will hold false. Again, we could use variables inside of if statements that evaluate the true and false. Here's just a simple example. Even flag, if it's even, it's going to output n was even when I checked it. Okay, so depending on what n is, this will either run this code or skip over this code. Notice this even flag is a variable that evaluates to true or false. Tomorrow, or unit part 3, we'll go over logical operators. So we'll come back to that. But right now I want to go over to your code blocks and look at extended if statements. Okay. If you notice here I have if, else if, else if, else if, else. Okay. If I had these as all ifs, it would have to check each and every if statement, and your results will not be correct. Here I have, let's say x equals 95, and that makes that one true, so A is outputted. 95 greater than or equal to 80, yes, so B will be outputted. Is 95 greater than or equal to 70? C will be outputted. Notice every one of these will be outputted, A through D. The else is skipped because this was true. Just to run it to verify it, if you notice, and I had to move my screen here, A, B, C, D was outputted. Okay. Again, we can use else ifs. In Python, we call them elifs. They're the same thing, except we use the word else if and with a space. And they work the same way as in Python. Here, only one of these will run, not all 4 of them. Okay, so if 95 greater than 90, true, A is outputted, the rest are skipped. Okay, so the very first one coming from the top down that evaluates to be true, that is run. the rest are skipped. So let's go ahead and put 85 up here and try that. Is 85 greater than 90? No, it's not. Is 85 greater than or equal to 80? Yes, it is. So B is outputted. The rest is skipped. Okay, it makes it run much faster than if they had all if statements, where it has to check each and every if statement. Okay. How can I even make this faster? Well, the best thing to do is you have to think about grades, and I know I used this examples before in other classes. The one that occurs the most should be on top. Okay, so for example, most people on average, if I would take an entire test of the entire school, most people are average, so majority of people should have a C. It's what we call a bell curve. Okay, majority fall in the average range, so that'll be somewhere in the C range. Small percentage will be A, small percentage will be F's, a little bit bigger B, above average, and a little bit below average. Okay, so the one that occurs the most, in this case C, should be put on top. And to do that, we'll have to use logical operators, which is in the next section that we talk about. Okay, so to make this faster, whichever condition occurs the most should be the one on top, because we want to go ahead and run that and jump out as soon as possible. Okay, that wraps up part 2 with what we call extended if statements or chained if statements or conditionals. So hopefully you understand this, practice your code. If you have any questions, email me or see me in class. Have a nice day.